Hey guys, Lewis here again. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I became a consultant, the things that led me to become a consultant, what it's like being a consultant. Essentially today I am in a co-working space, just down from my house. I like to work out of the co-working space because they have super duper strong and fast internet. I find it improves my workflow and the speed with which I can get deliverables to clients. Working in an area that is different to my house or home office. I've got 3 young kids and it makes it difficult to try and speak to customers, clients, network and meet other people when you're constantly running after them or trying to help them. I came to be a digital consultant through a long and winding path of working in digital agencies. So I started off as a account executive, I guess you'd say, and from there I went to an account manager, and from there I went to a senior account manager, group account director, and then eventually general manager of a digital agency. Essentially, as starting in the lowest possible level, you start getting exposed to a lot and you move away from those types of businesses. So you get exposed to the individual clients, and the clients touch a range of different industries, including government, finance, tourism, e-commerce, not-for-profit, various charities, sports, entertainment. And each of those individual projects that you work through, keeping in mind that I was sort of initially selling and then doing project management on these different projects within a digital agency, which could have touched everything from a website, user experience, user interface design, wireframing, information architecture, technology selection, actual development of websites and applications into various native platforms, using various CMSs. You get exposed to this really broad amount of business types and business kinds. And they all use different tech stacks, they all use different processes internally, they all solve different things to different people, and so those personas are always slightly different depending on who you're dealing with. So I guess that led me to be a consultant in a way. I also have a really strong interest and passion for marketing and technology, and I take those different pieces of my passion and interest, and they sort of become infused with the bare bones of consultancy. So, you know, if someone brings a product to me or a service to me and says, how can we sell more of these, or how can we make this more efficient, it's very difficult for me to think about one tiny part of that, because, you know, the marketing is based on the product and the product is based on the marketing. They influence each other. And so I think being a good consultant is about having that really broad, but also deep set of knowledge. You know, you have to understand design thinking and human-centered design and service design. You have to understand project management of the delivery of one of those types of projects. You have to understand code. You have to understand how to select technology for the different pros and cons of the technology itself and the actual needs of the customer or the client. You need to be able to look at integrations and be able to figure out what's going to work together. You need to look at providers and current relationships and how those different businesses can better leverage those relationships. And then you need to look at internal resources and figure out, you know, of the makeup of the internal resources that this current business or this potential client or this actual client has. How can they optimize those? How can they make a better use of those internal resources so that they can, you know, hit those KPIs and benchmarks and really start to excel? A big part of my day is spent talking to people. I do a lot of Skype calls. I do a lot of face-to-face meetings. I do a lot of coffee dates. There's obviously a lot of lunches once you get to a certain level they actually become tedious after a while, and you find that going to lunches don't make you a better consultant, they make you a worse consultant, because you spend more time doing small talk and doing the whining and dining piece, and less time actually producing deliverables and actually formulating complex documentation that's going to help a business. So from my perspective, it's better to be really regimented with your time, be very specific with the amount of time that you're going to allocate to real proper work on a weekly, daily or hourly basis, and then be very picky about who you let into that time. So sort of 4-hour blocks, I think, is the most amount of time that I can actually produce high quality work at a very deep level in any one chunk of time. And you know, I might be able to do one of those in a day. Sometimes I can do two, and I definitely start to feel the wheels fall off on my third block of 4 hours. I often try not to work that long because it's just too much, and you don't have the same impact, right? So in terms of how I run my business, I track my time hourly. I have a predetermined hourly rate, which is $150 an hour Australian. So do the math if you want to reverse engineer that. Essentially, that means that I'm at $1,200 a day. And then if I get 5 days in a stretch, obviously you can work out the math on that. I have to remove tax, and I have to charge GST. And then I've also got operating expenses. So the cost of the co-working space, the cost of the hardware that I use on a daily basis, and then the cost of any ancillary subscription services. And these might include things like Asana for project management, or Trello, or GitHub, or whatever it might be. You always use a different set of tools, but you kind of have to be on those different subscriptions. There's also a lot of travel involved, so you spend a lot of time flying or driving in between different client offices for different reasons and needs. There's different ways of handling that. I'm pretty upfront at the outset of any project that cost needs to be covered by the customer or the client. They're paying me for my services, and to get me geographically to that place, they need to cover at least a large percentage of that cost, so that I can make sure that my hourly rate stays true. That's actually a relatively cheap rate in terms of consultants. A lot of consultants are between the 200 and 300 mark, and then sort of the further up the chain you go, you can definitely start to see lawyers in and around the $400 an hour mark. I guess the difference between a lawyer and, say, a digital transformation specialist or strategist is my return on investment in terms of a business or enterprise employing me to actually build out strategies and execute strategies for them is actually very measurable. So in terms of me being able to prove the return on investment as myself as an individual consultant, to a degree, I'll be able to show how much money I've saved, how much money I've generated, and how much money I can potentially continue to generate for those different businesses by putting in place some of those solutions. Most of my work comes from word of mouth, which is counterintuitive as a digital marketing specialist with that sort of background. I don't run AdWords, I don't run Facebook ads, I don't have lead funnels, I don't drive people down click funnels. I could. It's pretty straightforward to set up. It's definitely not difficult to do. I do it for a lot of clients, but the types of customers I'm looking for generally come from personal relationships and people looking for very specific solutions related to the problems that they currently have. So the biggest client that I've ever got was going to a job interview and then selling in the solution during the job interview. That's probably a whole post in itself. The next biggest client I ever got was walking into a business off the side of the road. They actually turned out to be a very large tech company, and they had their major client was McDonald's. So by knocking on a door, getting in front of the receptionist, and then asking who the best person to speak to, and ending up in front of the CEO. That's how the biggest job that I've ever got have come about. I've bill my time, I track my time and bill my time through FreshBooks, which is a very simple accounting software. If you've never used it, you should. It's amazing. And yeah, I try to stay out of email where possible. I'm pretty regimented with my calendar. If you guys find these videos interesting and like to hear about how I use each of those tools, then please let me know in the comments and I'll record a video for each of them. But that's it for now. So yeah, please ask any questions you might have. I'll try and make these videos a bit more interactive. I understand it's pretty hard listening. Someone just ran to the camera for an amount of time. Thanks for watching.